Great. So let me take over and just introduce our amazing, amazing guest today. First of all to all of you as well, a wholehearted welcome to our monthly Heart Powered Speaking community call. And I just, invited you already, everyone that just joined us recently, please write in the chat where you're from. And if you want to, you can share with us where are you with your speaking right now? Are you a starter? Are you already experienced? You're out there speaking, but you're not being paid yet? Or are you a professional star speaker already where you generate a significant income from your speaking? So we want to know, are you a starter, experienced, a pro? Let us know. And everyone that's here for the first time, welcome first timers. I'm the founder of Heart Powered Business. My name is Monique Bloxel. And, we have a mantra, which is speak up, scale up, impact the world. Over the years, we've helped hundreds of clients from more than 50 countries to go professional with their speaking and to double, triple, and even quadruple their income with our Voice to Millions framework. And I've been a paid speaker myself for more than 20 years, and I've been on stage in more than 30 countries by now. And this session, okay, I know it's not about me, it's all about you and about our expert guest. So let me ask you, how many of you are here at the moment that are serious about and committed and serious about stepping up with your speaking this year? Say me in the chat. If you're really serious and committed about stepping up with your speaking this year, say me in the chat, okay? And also, speaking is great. It boosts reputation, it boosts visibility, it attracts more clients more easily, right? And it helps you to grow and scale your businesses. So let me ask you, how many of you that are here right now with us today would actually like to add another 10,000 or 50,000 or 100,000 euros or dollars to your income this year? Thanks for speaking. And if that is you, again, say yes in the chat. We really want to know how many of you really are committed to step up with your speaking and through speaking, growing your income this year. Say me in the chat, okay? Or yes, okay? Okay, so also, okay, we are getting some kind of.
I got it. I'm handling it in the background.
Thank you, Daniel. Thank you for playing with me. That's wonderful. So I see that there's a lot of you saying me, me, me. That's great. Okay, Christiane and right, and everyone, right? Okay, so you all need to get there. So here's the thing, my friends. Okay, um, the thing is when you're serious to step up, right? Again, right? You really want to take bigger action, and I'm excited to share something really truly special with you. Okay, and that is that we run this year in June, soon coming up, our Voice to Millions retreat. And I just wanted to make sure that you have heard about it, that you can make a decision if this is for you. And what is this retreat? Okay, let me tell you a few things about it, because the thing is, the more we speak, the more we need something to sell from stage that is scalable. Because when you gain more clients through your speaking, you need to have, your capacity is filled fast. So you rather want to have something like a course or program that allows you to work with many clients, earn much more money, and gain your time back. So you can do more of what you love doing, and so that you are out there speaking, you free up your time speaking and selling even more of your amazing programs. So what we do at this 3-day Voice to Millions retreat in June in Cyprus, some of you know it already, some of you signed up to it already, and we love to having you there with us. We're going to be really helping you craft your signature speech and your signature program and a signature speech that sells it for you. And we're going to do it at a 5-star retreat hotel on the beach. So again, it's a juicy place where you're going to take a shortcut to create something that can really add quite a lot of extra cash into your bank account this year, and it will help you elevate your speaking at the same time. So I invite you to just have a look. I shared a link in the chat. Let us know if this is for you, okay? And if you have any interest in coming or you have any questions, just send me a direct chat message, or say interest in the chat, or send me a direct chat message, and we can have a conversation and address any questions you might have around it. But this session, as I said earlier, is not about me at all. It's all about you and our precious guest that will inspire you to really take away practical hints and tips today for you to elevate your speaking, elevate your business in the most amazing ways. Our sessions are very interactive, so you can ask your questions anytime, although our amazing guest will also make time at the end of our session to answer additional questions at the end. But put your questions into the chat right away whenever they come up, so you don't miss getting an answer on those directly, okay? Also, please mute yourself when you're not speaking, okay? And again, keep in mind, the video is on. If you ask questions, sometimes we might bring you in, and keep in mind that this session is recorded. So what is our session today? Okay, the topic is a really, really strong promise here. We talk about how you stop networking and you rather start building relationships that matter. Okay, so let me ask you, okay, maybe a show of hands. How many of you have been to networking events where everyone in the room was just trying to sell something to each other, right? All of us have been at these networking events, right? And again, people are getting tired of those, right? So are you actually tired of just empty handshakes and business cards that you exchange that lead you nowhere? Well, if that's you, you're not alone. We've all been there, right? So in our high impact session today with our guest, we lay it all out for you. How you stop networking and how you start building relationships that matter. So you actively support and promote each other, and together you create the greatest results. So today we'll talk about how you spot high value opportunities with two simple and yet powerful strategies. We'll also talk about how you focus your time and energy to build connections to get greater results in less time, and how you build meaningful relationships that lead to real business and speaking opportunities. So today you'll walk away with an incredible framework to connect authentically, not just with your network, but with your network's trusted connections as well. Well, who is our guest today? Let me just now give away the name, okay? It's Daniel Andrews. And guess what? We connected Daniel, right? Because you and I got introduced, and we just experienced what you're going to be talking about today, and you're the master of that. So Daniel is a relationships building expert. He's a speaker, he's a mentor, and he's here to share with all of us how to stop networking the old way and start creating powerful connections that actually lead to opportunities, to partnerships, to clients, and friendships that last. He's going to unpack the two major magic bullets that you need to evaluate opportunities wisely and focus your efforts where it really counts. And trust me, what he shares today can really shift how you connect with your people, not only in your business, but for life. So grab your notebook, okay? Make sure that you're not distracted. Get ready to soak in the wisdom from Daniel. Okay, so please, everyone, give a warm welcome to the one and only Daniel Andrews. Daniel, over to you.
Thanks. I appreciate that. Sadly, it's not the one and only. If you go looking for Daniel Andrews on LinkedIn, you'll find several thousand. As a matter of fact,
you're the only one D.
I'm only one D, right? Exactly. Dan the man with the plan, as we like to say, right? Dan the man fan club t-shirts on sale momentarily. Stay tuned. No, back to the point. My full name, Daniel Patrick Andrews, is the same as an Australian parliamentarian. It's very bombastic. So you can't even Google search me, but my name is my web address, danielpatrickandrews.com. That's the only way you can find me on the internet. But anyway, want to lay the groundwork on a couple of things. And Monique was kind enough to give me courtesy to be co-host, which means I can do this every now and then. And I won't do it often because I'm not egocentric, right? I don't believe I need to be front and center. But if I do a screen share where I want to share my notepad here and doodle out a few things for you guys, I might put myself on the main screen just so it's bigger, so that, because I realize in a tiny little box, trying to read a tiny little box ain't going to work. So I might not choose to use that notepad for anything, but I'm set up for it just in case I feel like I need to do that. So a couple of principles that I have come to discover. Well, let me even back up further than that and give you the short version of everything. Monique was very kind and said he's going to tell you. I think she used the phrase, he's going to give you all the information. Oh no, we've got about 45 minutes here. I'm going to give you all I can give you in 45 minutes, right? If you're afraid that any part of this is going to be some sort of a sales pitch, it is. At the end, I'm going to say there's more where that came from. That's the whole sales pitch. But that wasn't it yet. That's going to come up at the end. But that's the whole sales pitch. I'm going to spend all of it on this. We're going to do what we can in the 45 minutes. If you feel like you want to master some of the stuff we talked about, more than happy to engage with you on that. First thing I want to say is I am not naturally good at this. The best coach for anything is somebody that had to struggle through to become good at it themselves. People that are naturally gifted should do the thing they do well, but they should usually not be tasked with coaching or teaching somebody how to do it well because they don't know the difference between not being good at it and being good at it. This is not something that came to me naturally. As my first wife says, I'm good in small doses. Yeah, that was my reputation 20 years ago. Over the last 10 or 12 years, I've made some significant changes in the way I approach people and the way I approach work. The second thing I want to emphasize is that whatever it is that goes under the name networking in your world probably needs to come to an end. I'm a firm believer in the phrase stop networking and start building relationships that matter, or stop networking. If y'all there in Europe understand the implication of the air quotes, it's not really networking, it's networking. It's so-called networking. It's right. And it's usually not. And the fastest way you can tell it's not is if they're trying to sell you something. And as Monique pointed out, most people are, and by most I mean all, at most of these events. And by most I mean all. Okay. Right. They'll actually start, Christian's nodding, they'll actually start the sales pitch right there. And you're like, I didn't know. No, this is not how I want to spend my time here. Right. It's very interesting how that is. Okay. So as long as you think that networking is a subset of marketing, it will continue to be a low value activity with a low return. And I liken it to going to the casino and playing what we call in America a slot machine. And they want you winning just off enough, Beatrix, to think that you're actually making money. But over time, what are you doing? Losing money, right? It's a losing proposition over time. But you win just off enough to think if I can just pull the handle faster, if I can just go to the more events, if I can just get in the right room, that's my favorite. If I can just get in the right room. You don't know what to do if you were in the right room anyway. And what I share with you can help you turn any room into the right room. Okay. So you don't want to be in a marketing mindset, which is a low value with a low return activity. You want to be in a business development mindset. Networking is just a subset of marketing. No, maybe the way you practice it, but building a network is not a subset of marketing. It is literally strategic business development. If you choose, you can have up to 100% of all your goals met from inbound introductions. If you want. If you want to use other methods to attract customers, speaking, right, marketing, social media, sure, go for it. But you can have as much business as you want coming to you effectively through building the right networks. In you guys' case, it would be speaking opportunities is what you're looking for, right? You can have those come inbound to you, clients and speaking opportunities, if you choose. Okay. Now, I will say that building a network and low stakes networking do share two things in common. They are not like each other in any way, but they have two common elements. One is the goal is revenue. The goal is revenue. And the other thing that share in common is messaging matters. But aside from that, they are unrelated to each other. That one is not a subset of the other. They are two very different practices completely. Okay. Now, a lot of people measure things like followers and downloads and impressions and likes and comments and reach and all that stuff. And I'd like you to understand this. All of those things are ego metrics. Every single thing that you measure in social media is an ego metric. There is only one number worth measuring: revenue. Monique said, do any of y'all want to add tens of thousands of euros, pounds, dollars to your income next year? She didn't say, do y'all want to get lots of applause? Do you want to have the most downloaded podcast? Do you want to get a TED Talk? She didn't ask you that. She said, you want to have revenue. There's only one number worth measuring: revenue. There's only two numbers that feed that number: how many people are giving you money, and how many people are referring people that give you money. Everything else you measure, you're measuring for the sake of your ego. Right? Period. That's it. Okay. So those were a couple things I wanted to start with on the original, just to get that stuff out the way. Here's the biggest key. If you want to break down how to get the results correctly, there's really only three structures. I don't know how to say this. Everything I coach over days, weeks, months, or years, depending on your engagement with me, supports one of these three pillars. You've got to ask the right question from the right person for the right introduction. It's very basic. It is very difficult to master. How many of y'all have ever met with somebody and they didn't even know what question to ask? You don't even come away, you don't even understand who they serve. You don't understand what they do or who they do it for. Most people struggle with asking the right question. Almost everybody struggles with from the right person. For the right introduction. So everything that I coach today and in the future, if you engage with me, is based on those three principles, those three pillars. You've got to master the art of asking the right question from the right person for the right introduction. All right. So having said that, here's another great framework that'll very much help you. When you're out building your network, the $5 question, I'm an American, so I'm going to use dollars, substitute euros if you want to, Australian dollars too, pounds, whatever you want. The $5 question, will you buy my thing? And I get it, Liz. Profits come from revenue. Revenue comes from customers. Somebody's got to buy your thing. I just finished saying this is not about audience size. This is about revenue, right? But the $5 question is, will you buy my thing? The $50 question is, who do you know that would buy my thing? The $500 question is, who do you know that would know a lot of people that would buy my thing? Not who do you know that happens to know a lot of people. Who do you know that would know a lot of people that would buy my thing? If you have a venue that hosts really nice celebrations, you need a great relationship with what? A caterer. If you're a real estate agent, you should have a great relationship with a mortgage lender and a funeral home director. If you're a moving company, you should have a great relationship with a divorce lawyer. Those of us that are divorced get it. Okay. If you are a salary negotiation coach, you should hang out with the resume writing coach. Do you get it? In very few cases, I don't know y'all, mostly. I know Faizan, he's a great guy. I know Monique. I've seen Beatrix in some rooms before. But your odds that convincing me that you're good at what you do will produce results are low, just statistically speaking. The question isn't, do I know some people or could I refer somebody? The question is, who could refer a lot of people? The plumber and the roofing company, right? And the gutter company, the painter and the drywall company, the graphic designer and the billboard advertiser, and the website designer and the radio advertiser, right? You cannot, you should not choose to spend your time meeting as many people as possible and taking a coffee chat, which is a terrible name for what you're trying to do, or a virtual coffee or a get to know you meeting or whatever you want to call it, with as many people as possible. We're going to spend this much time on the planet alive, this much of it awake, this much of it at work. These are approximations, but it's okay to laugh. That was a joke. This much time dealing with other people, Eric. If you've got a finite amount of time to spend convincing somebody that you're referable, that you're good at what you do, be strategic. Right? If you do good in the world, and I hope you think you do, because if you don't think you do, either do what you do differently or do something different. If you do good in the world, then you owe it to the people you hope to serve to hang out with people that are positioned to amplify the work you do. Right? Monique and I happen to be very well qualified to be referral partners. She deals with people that want to grow their business. I deal with people that want to grow their business. But we offer very different complementary, not contradictory models of that. Right? I just finished coaching Ty, and I told Ty to get in touch with Monique, and Monique is going to coach with Ty next. And when Monique is done, Ty might come back to me for some more stuff on the work I do. Or Monique might find someone better for Ty and refer her somewhere else. It's all good. Okay. She and I are well suited. So it's good that we spent that time getting to know each other. And we did it because we were introduced by somebody who knew the sort of people we wanted to meet. Right? I referred somebody to Monique's coaching. I haven't experienced it. But the person that referred her to me before we had our get to know you meeting believed in her strongly and asserted that she was very believable and credible and referable. And I don't have any reason to doubt that. Rather than start at zero and become credible in somebody's mind, why not get introduced and start as credible? And by the way, the more AI there is, the less we're going to believe what we see in front of us. I'll say something a little bit dicey right now and tell you, don't believe my social media content. I didn't write it. It's very believable. The guy that writes it for me has known me for 30 years. But I will occasionally be on LinkedIn. I'm like, that's profound. And I'll go to hit the like button. I'm like, oh, wait, that's me. I shouldn't hit like on my own. Okay. And the reason behind that, by the way, Christian, is because number one, I don't believe social media makes an impact on whether or not people do business with me. My calendar is already full of inbound referrals, right? The friend that I've had for 30 years owes me a considerable sum of money, and I want him to be able to work it off with integrity rather than drown in debt to me. So I'm paying him by reducing his debt weekly to make social media posts for me. That's the only when his debt's paid off, you will see no more social media from me. So I don't care because nobody believes it anyway. This is what's crazy, Eric. And in the world of AI, we don't believe most of what we see. And yet we post so earnestly, hoping that people will believe 100% of what we say. It's not going to happen. That's a double standard. You're never going to get the results because you already know you don't believe what you see online. All right. Enough about that point. Okay. You want to be strategic about who you build with. Figure out who it is. And we don't have time for a master class on that today. Figure out who it is that's your parallel salesperson. Who's calling on the same people you're calling on, but they're not selling what you're selling? Who's calling on the same people you're calling on, but they're not selling what you're selling? Okay. They can be related industries like a mortgage or a home loan lender and a real estate agent, or they can be unrelated. A moving company and a divorce attorney aren't related, but they're relevant. A financial planner and a nursing home director, assisted living director aren't related, but they're relevant, right? Y'all understand the trigger that makes those things work? Okay. Going back to the $5 question, the $50 question, the $500 question. It makes sense, Christiane, that someone has to have a certain amount of confidence in us, trust in us before they spend their money. And it's fine. We know how to do that, right? I referred Ty to Monique, but Ty didn't show up with her checkbook in hand. She's like, what do you got now? And they spent 2.5 hours and she signed Ty as a client. Now, she wasn't starting at zero because Ty believed in Monique or was inclined to believe in Monique because I introduced her and Ty believes in me, right? But we know how to take somebody we've just met and get them over the hump, right? In order to get a referral from me, you have to be even more trustworthy because if I invested $4,000 with Monique and didn't get my money's worth, that's on me. I tend to blame myself. But if I refer Christian to hire Monique and he doesn't get his money's worth, I feel worse about that than about my own 4,000. But a key referral partner, the $500 question, who do you know that would know a lot of people that would buy my thing, requires less trust than either of the other two introductions. And here's why. I don't know what you guys call them in Europe. We call them blind dates or arranged dates. I have a friend who's looking. I have a friend who's looking. I send them on a date, right? Here's her number. Call her. Take her out. Do I have slideshows that I show to Deborah about what a great guy Ron is? Do I type up a biography of Ron before I introduce him to Deborah? No. It's very brief, Eric. Deborah, Ron is not an axe murderer. Ron, Deborah's not crazy. Y'all go. It didn't work out. But no hard feelings because I'm not invested in the outcome. They're going to invest it. I love Deborah. I love Ron. But that doesn't mean Deborah's going to love Ron and Ron's going to love Deborah, right? I'm not in charge of that relationship. I just want to put them together and let them figure out their own value to each other. So it actually takes less to ask somebody for an introduction to a key referral partner. Now, once you reach the key referral partner, you've got to cross the bridge of trust to get the referrals that you need from that person. But it's wild that the most valuable person you can encounter or get an introduction to from a networking effort is a key referral partner, and it's the easiest one to get, easier than getting a prospect. It's crazy. Human nature is weird. Right? $5 question, £5, €5. Will you buy my thing? $50 question, who do you know that will buy my thing? €500 question, who do you know that would know a lot of people that would buy my thing? All right, I'm going to pause for a minute. I've got tons more material, but I don't know which direction to take it in. Anybody want to echo something that you heard and you're like, okay, that was a shift, or you need clarification on something, or you've got a totally unrelated question to what I've said so far and you want to take us off in another direction? Any of those, you're welcome to either put in the chat or come off mute and speak it out loud. By the way, I appreciate the people that are nodding along because if you've ever been on a stage anywhere, you need to make eye contact with somebody or you feel like you're freaking drowning, right? It's just crazy. So Christian and Liz in particular, and Christiane, I've seen you nodding along too. I want to thank you for that. All right. Eric's had his head down taking notes, which is also a form of affirmation, and I appreciate that as well. All right, Christian versus Christian. But anyway, Christian, what do you got?
Yeah, maybe one question. So I ask for referrals, but I often found the problem that they don't respond. So they say, yeah, I will refer you to XYZ, but then nothing happens.
Yes, that is exactly the direction I want to go in.
Okay, great.
Great. Assuming they're sincere,
Yep.
and we can have a large debate about whether or not people are sincere most of the time. Assuming they're sincere, and by that I mean, Liz, assuming you have reached a degree of credibility, or I just use the word kind of generically, referability, right? They are willing to refer you. If you've crossed that bridge, and there's some elements to getting there, but if that's been the case, and they don't then send referrals, there are only one of three speed bumps, or as the Australians call them, sleeping policemen, right? There's only, I don't like to use the word hurdle or obstacle because it can be overcome, Eric. It's just a speed bump. Y'all know what I'm talking about on the highway? Keep you from going 90 miles an hour, 80 kilometers down a residential street, okay? There's only three. They're not sure who, they're not sure how, or they didn't put the time on their calendar. Right? Talking with a friend of mine earlier today, Matt Drinkon. I said, how's the podcast going? Great. Do you need any more guests? No, all my guests refer a guest. I said, well, if you ever need guests, let me know. He said, I'll do that. I said, by the way, I'd love to be on your podcast someday. He goes, you know what? Let's just put you on. He said, I'm not recording anymore until after the beginning of July because I have to move from one town to another. Get in touch with me on the 7th or 8th of July and we'll work something out. Did I scribble it on a scrap of paper or did I create a 15-minute appointment on my calendar with myself to call Matt? I put it on the calendar. Okay. They're not sure who, they're not sure how. They didn't put the time on their calendar. I believe in a system where your key referral partners, the people that are positioned to refer business to you and vice versa, meet on a consistent basis, not multiple people, you one at a time. I call them referral pairings. And in the early stages, Beatrix, I'm going to do this in real time. We're going to get on each other's calendar. And I'm going to follow a program called Nominate, Feedback, Introduce, Feedback. Nominate. Hey, Monique, I'd like to introduce you to Ty Graham. Gee, Dan, why would you want to introduce me to Ty Graham? And I'll tell her why I think Ty could be a good introduction for her. And she'll say, that sounds great. Or, no, that doesn't sound like my person. I could be wrong. So I'm going to nominate and get feedback. Do you want to meet Ty Graham? Yes. Do you want to meet Markel? No. Whatever the case may be. Okay. If she says yes, we're going to co-author that introduction. The tendency is, hey, Liz, here's how to introduce me. And you send a paragraph over, which is usually stripped straight from your LinkedIn or your website. And it's way more information. The goal of that introduction, is it to make a sale? No way. It's to get people into what? A meeting. That's it. So you can send me that paragraph. You can put it in the chat box, Faizan, and I will work with it. But I'm not looking for that paragraph. I'm looking for the nut. I'm looking for the core. I'm looking for the content. Because the way I'm going to introduce Monique to a prospect is different than the way I would introduce you to a key referral partner. And the way I would introduce her to Della is different than the way I would introduce her to Markel. Because I know those people differently, right? So it's got to be their nut, their core, their content in my natural language. And I gave somebody a paragraph once and I said, put that in your natural language. She said, no problem. She logged out because had run out of time. She went and made an email and she started with her natural language. She had my cut and pasted paragraph and finished in her natural language. And my cut and pasted paragraph was in a different font and a different font size. Could you just make it any more clear that you cut and pasted? OMG. Please no. Okay. So we're going to co-author that introduction. And then I'm going to put it back on the screen. And we're going to both read it again because I'm really smart, but I'm a crappy typist. So you're going to help me make sure there's no typos in there. You're going to help me make sure, Eric, I didn't leave out anything that's important. And then we're going to say that looks good. And we're going to hit send. Right? And I've solved the problem of who. And I've solved the problem of how. And I've solved the problem of, did you put the time on your calendar? By putting the time on the calendar to solve the who and the how, you got it made. Now, after a point, at some stage in the future, right, I'm going to understand Monique's 2 or 3 prime avatars. I'm going to have 2 or 3 verbiages for the way I would introduce her. And it's going to evolve to the point where I will send her a link to somebody's LinkedIn profile and go, thumbs up, thumbs down. And she'll be like, thumbs up. Looking at his profile, don't forget to throw this in because we actually went to the same university. Awesome. Right? But she trusts me to get it right from there. Right? You can make it asynchronous when you've got your relationship established. But the biggest reason, Christian, is they don't put it on their calendar. And that's why you need to be hanging out with key referral partners. Because if you will make time to give them referrals, Doug, they will make time to give you referrals. Okay. Now, referral sources exist. You will find referral sources as you're sorting for referral partners. Some people can send business your way, but you're not in a position to send business back to them. Or at least not as frequently. Right? But you're searching for key referral partners because then it's a self-sustaining relationship. You don't have to do any work. It is its own self-sustaining relationship. Okay. So yeah, it's all about relationship because it's all about trust. Meeting people is easy. There's a billion of them on LinkedIn right now. You can find all the people you want to talk to at this minute. But they never heard of you, Liz. Why would they talk to you? But when somebody introduces you, somebody they trust, I had a guy say, he said, Dan, send me some questions I can ask to see if people want to get introduced to you. And I said, I'm going to pass on that. And he said, I'm sorry, what? I said, I only want you to introduce me to people that you don't have to ask permission to introduce me to. He said, that's a very small number of people. I said, have you seen my calendar? I only need a very small number of people from one person. I can afford to go for, nope, just flat out introduce me. I only want the people that know for a fact that if you make an intro, it's going to be good for them. Right? I got an introduction once from Suzanne Taylor King. It said, Daniel, Ruben, y'all both do big things together. That was the whole intro. Beatrix and I replied, I know better than to argue with STK, LOL. Here's my link. And Ruben replied, I know better than to argue with STK. I booked. And I'm not saying it because, Eric, the best intro is short. The text of the intro had nothing to do with our readiness to reply. It came back to the phrase, Doug, I know better than to argue with STK. She has 3 names, so we use her initials because Suzanne Taylor King seems like a lot to say. So we call her STK. Right? It wasn't the intro. It was the fact that I had confidence that Suzanne knew and understood my business well enough to know and understand what a good introduction would look like for me. And Ruben knew that too. And I could tell that both of us knew it because she didn't explain me to Ruben and didn't explain Ruben to me. I don't think in general that an introduction that goes, hey, Monique, here's one of my friends, Liz. She's a great person. She does this and this and this in the world. And Liz, this is my friend Monique. She does this and this and this world. And y'all are just beautiful people. And y'all should get together and just because those are two great people. It's a terrible intro. I don't have time. I get plenty of great people in my world. I know how to find more when I'm ready for them. Right? I love those scams that, start off some pretty girl profile. Hey, I'm just online trying to make friends. I'm like, ma'am, I got friends. I got no time for somebody else, right? There's no room for you. Right? Somebody, when I was single and living in a large city, somebody's like, hey, on Facebook. And I'm like, what are you looking for? It's like, just to meet interesting guys. And I'm like, well, and I screen cap my text thread. I'm like, I'm already in conversations with 12. So where are you going to fit in the roster? I'm fairly sure it was a scam, Doug, but they understood that I wasn't going to make time for them and they got on off the roster. I'm like, yeah, we're not doing this. Okay. So when you make the time, right, you handle they don't know who, they don't know how, right? And we've got the time there. All right. It's about the relationship because what we're looking for is the trust that's being passed from person to person. It's not the length of the intro, it's the strength of my understanding of their understanding of what a good introduction looks like for me. And your best metaphor, in my opinion, is a relay race, right? Like from the Olympics or something, and they've got 4 runners that each go around the track once. First runner, gun goes off, first runner comes around the track. At the moment of the handoff from the first runner to the second, what is the second runner doing? At the moment of handoff, what are they doing?
Preparing.
At the moment the baton changes hands, what is the second runner doing? At the moment the baton changes hands, what are they doing? They're running.
Running.
Do they look back?
The handoff to the next person.
Do they look back? They do not look back unless there's a bobble. They get into the right lane and they're done. They don't get 3 strides down and double check to make sure that the jersey that they got it from matches their jersey. They don't look up at the scoreboard to make sure they're in the right race on the right day on the right track. And runner number 4 was still in the locker room with a busted shoelace, comes out when the race is halfway over and asks 0 questions, gets onto the track in their position, right, waiting on handoff from runner number 3. They don't question the baton. They don't question the officials. They don't question the racetrack. They don't question their teammate. It's assumed to be good. Now, if there's a bobble, right? Somebody shows up late for their first meeting, trust goes down a little. Somebody uses unprofessional language, voted for the wrong party. Doesn't matter what country you're in, they all suck right about now. But anyway, right? You can lose cred, but it's yours to lose. The key at that point is not to gain cred. It's not screw up the cred that's been handed to you. Now, it doesn't mean you can't add a few degrees to it, right? And you don't have to be at the level of Daniel, Ruben, y'all both do big things together to get an introduction. Monique was not at that level with me. And I said to Ty, you're going to need to check her out for yourself, but I know she delivers what you're looking for. And then I said to Monique before you got on here, Ty is going to report back to me your progress, not because, I'm spying on Monique or trying to steal her material by getting it secondhand through Ty. That's a terrible way to get it. I'm way better off paying Monique for her expertise, right? But because I want to hear the reports back so that I can even better advocate for the next time. Right? So that I can even better refine who needs her and who needs to be somewhere else. or nowhere else or a different job altogether, right? So I want to continue my understanding, right? By not assuming Nate's going to crush it, right? So now the pressure's on. But again, Monique will crush it because she's got a great reputation. All right, I'm going to pause again for a minute. Comments, questions, feedback. I can keep going, right? But I don't want to drive this train in a direction that you guys aren't interested in having it go. So does something jump out at you? There we go. See, Doug can vouch for it, but Doug, I don't know you, so that doesn't mean much to me, but it's nice to know that she's got fans, right? I could have paid somebody for all those 5-star reviews for all you know, right? Okay, then I'm going to give away some hard dollar value for you right now. And when I say that, I normally charge $150 for a video where I explain 2 critical concepts in 3 minutes. I did it at a brewery with a beer in my hand too. So you can hear the sirens going by on the street and I've got a buzz. So if you ever see that video, just remember I was kind of lit when I did it. All right. But here it is. Pens at the ready. Turn on the transcript. Save the chat. Everything you need to do. By the way, one low stakes way to build cred in a room is put the key points that you're learning into the chat box as a favor to everybody else. It's very interesting. It highlights you without pointing the highlight at you. Anyhow, here you go. 2 critical questions that will absolutely accelerate your ability to get referrals. When you get into a meeting with somebody, whatever you call it, get to know you, one-to-one, coffee chat, bad name, virtual coffee, even worse name. I call it a quick connect or a paired interview. Paired means 2, interview means we're interviewing each other. Not grilling each other, to use an Americanism, but we are digging in to figure out. It is as important to me, Liz, to discover if you're referable as it is to uncover my referability. I need to give you room to convince me. I hate the word convince in this setting. And I have to convince you. Because if I don't know if you're referable, then I won't refer you. And if I won't refer you, the number of referrals you give me is going to come to an abrupt end sooner or later. If I want the relationship to survive, it's incumbent on me because I've been coached, I've been trained, I understand the model. It's incumbent on me to give Liz and Beatrix and Christian and Doug and Isadora and Jasper and Jerry and Simona room to become referable. Right? When you start the quick connect, or if you're trying to get someone onto your calendar, you can modify this exact phrase a little bit. Right? Maybe you're in a breakout and you're talking to somebody and you're like, oh, I think we should follow up. Right? So to get them on your calendar or at the start of the meeting, I say, Liz, just to set the agenda for the next 20 minutes. And by the way, my get to know you meetings are 20 minutes. Because if it goes really well, we can book another one. But if it doesn't go well, I need out. Okay. By the way, that's your qualifying question. If you're in a get to know you meeting and the other person, you leave and you feel like that was a low value conversation, that other person is a good referral for me. If you get into a lot of those, it might be you that's a good referral for me. Maybe it's you. All right. Start with this question. ADHD is a real bear. You're like, he didn't even answer the question yet. Here's the question. Hey, Liz, I want to set the agenda. My understanding is that you and I are in this meeting today so that I can learn enough about you, your business, what you do, most importantly, who you do it for, that I could potentially become a consistent source of introductions, resources, prospects, and referrals. Pause. And I'm looking for people that will do the same with me. Liz, is that your understanding of why we're meeting today? You always want to set the agenda at the start of every meeting you go into. Nobody likes a meeting with no agenda. Nobody. right? My wife and I can see each other's calendars, right? If every 3, 4 weeks Monique was booking a half hour with me, at some point my wife's gonna be like, Monique keeps booking calls with you. What for? And I go, I don't know. She just sets them up and we chat. I don't know what the agenda is. I guarantee you my wife will find a reason to slide into my office one day soon and go, hey, Monique, just want to let you know. Right? Nobody likes a meeting with no agenda. We don't understand what it's about. So if you need to get somebody on, Christiane, it's a subtle thing. Hey, Christiane, I'm not sure, but I'd like to investigate. If I can learn enough about you, your business, what you do, most importantly, who you do it for, that I could potentially become blah, 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 right? And see if you could do the same for me. Are you interested in having that conversation? Okay. Right. Then you get them on the calendar. If you do that, and that's how you get them on your calendar, Doug, I would still start the meeting with almost the exact same phraseology just to reaffirm why we're in this meeting. Because they might have forgotten, or they might want to make sure they're not being bait and switched into a sales pitch. Right. At the end of your first meeting, even if it's just 20, 25 minutes long, or somewhere near the beginning or middle of the next, here's your key question number 2. Under what circumstances would you feel comfortable referring business to me? There's about 5 or 6 reasons to ask that question. I love a statement or a question that accomplishes multiple objectives all at the same time. I just love those. Under what conditions or under what circumstances would you feel comfortable referring business to me? They might say, well, we have a whole division in our company that does the work that you do. So I can get referrals from you, but anything for the work you do, I have to keep that internal. It's rare, but I'd like to know that now. Right? Friend of mine is a financial planner, helps people invest their money and plan for retirement. Gave 20 different leads to a CPA, 20 introductions to prospects, and then stopped by and he's like, hey, you'll never send business my way. And the guy's like, we have a whole division that does, financial planning for people. It's not on the front of my card because, that's not my role, but you're never going to get referrals from me. Whose fault is that? Carter's, the financial planners, right? Wouldn't he have been served to know that about 19 referrals ago? Probably so. Right? Okay. Under what conditions would you feel comfortable referring business to me? What if they give you some ridiculous standard? We should take me out to eat at the expensive steakhouse downtown once a month for about a year, and then you'll have cred with me. Great. I'm getting off this train now. Thanks. Appreciate it. That almost never comes up, but what if they did have a ridiculous standard? My brother-in-law does what you do, so I couldn't send the business out to you, Doug, because then it gets really weird at Thanksgiving or Christmas, right? Okay. I want to know that. You almost never comes up, but if it does, I want to know that sooner rather than later. The main reasons are because you will surprise yourself, Eric, with the number of people that go, I'm good. I can send you referrals right now. Also, because when they told you what the standard is, what threshold you need to meet, you now have permission to ask for referrals when you've met that standard. You don't have to wonder, have I built enough credibility with them? They told you what it takes to build cred. Right? My introduction from Ty to Monique was cautious. Hey, Monique seems like knows what she's doing. She could build a business around it. She's quite successful. She offers what you're asking me about. Check her out and see if it's good for you. But if I can continue to understand her and she can cross different thresholds with me, at some point it's going to be like, meet with Monique and bring your checkbook. Right? Just show up with your credit card in hand. Right? I had somebody call me one time and he's trying to explain to me the program and I'm waving my credit card to the camera. I'm like, why are you still talking? Do you just need to take a photo? What is it you're doing here? Because you're talking and I don't know why. Okay. It's the only time in my life I've ever had to say, shut up and take my money. Okay. It also gives them permission to give you the referral. That is a powerful question because they don't have to wonder, is it cool to give these referrals? You've crossed that threshold with them. And that's huge. I told you guys I'm coachable. I'm going to go out on a limb and do something that makes me very nervous. My coach, who I trust, said to me that it's a good idea to give a gift when you can. I'm going to put a link in the chat box. So it's only if you're here. Don't publish it with your newsletter or your when you go live. It's only for people who are here today. 45 minutes on my calendar. That's a big number. At no cost to you, that's a small number. I normally charge for those 45 minutes of what I call a network building business plan. Since you already have some of the fundamentals behind you, it'll be even more valuable because we just spent an hour on some general content. But I will work with you on figuring out who those key referral partners could be and how to approach them. That's the gift I'm going to give to y'all. I would ask for this. Please book it for after June 10th. I've got a huge project I need to execute. So I'm giving you that gift. I'm asking you to respect it. Please book it for after June 10th. Does that sound good? And don't share it. If you weren't in the room today, which gives you a lot of reasons to show up for Monique stuff because you never know what's going to happen. Let me find it here. Calendly. No, it's not there. It's somewhere else. Let me find it.
Daniel, I also shared your website link, so I think you also have
Right.
it there where people can book something directly. Is it?
If you poke around on my website long enough, you can find a 15-minute block with me, but all we would accomplish is pretty much what we've already done at this point. So, yeah, and that's buried deep because I don't like giving my time away unless it comes to me by introduction. I will treat all of y'all as an introduction from Monique, right?
Yay, you're very generous. 45 minutes.
There you go. That 45 minutes on my calendar for that specific thing. I normally charge $375 for that. And I'm not building it up to make you guys feel weird or strange or anything. But my coach just convinced me earlier this week. He's like, in front of the right people, give it away. And I'm like, okay. So here I just gave away 9 hours of my life and I'm freaking out over here. That doesn't mean don't take it. Just know that if you're the third or fourth on the list, it'll go a lot smoother because I won't be over here freaking out about having given away 9 hours of my life. Steak and a beer, sure. 257 Tufton Court, Casey, South Carolina, 29033. You want to fly into Columbia Metropolitan Airport. That's how you get here, Doug. Bring the steak and the beer. All right. I got a couple of minutes. I'll stick around if you guys got some Q&A. I'm happy to help. Feedback. If you don't have a question to ask, just answer this. What was the biggest shift? You're like, wait, what? That just went down. What was the biggest shift that just happened to you?
Maybe one question. I started my business very recently. So what would you be your advice when you were starting building your network?
Okay. Yeah, I get excited because these answers are very direct and they're very easy to access. But it's a common question. By the way, Christian, people are going to wonder if I paid you to ask me these softballs. These are the critical questions that everybody asks.
He didn't.
They're actually very easy to address. Here's the point. And I probably don't have time to blow this up. I mean, I might in a minute, depending on how many people are still on the screen. Well, if you guys have got a few minutes you want to stay, I might blow something up pretty big. The first thing to understand is your network is bigger than you think it is. Because your network is not your network. Your network is your network's network. Let's throw out everybody that you don't know. How many of y'all have got plenty of people that you're connected to that you wouldn't recognize them on the street? LinkedIn doesn't call them your network. It calls them your connections. Your phone doesn't call them your network. It calls you your contacts. As my friend STK says, just because you're in their phone doesn't mean they will answer their phone. But if we throw out everybody that we're just connected to and only kept our capital N network, it's bigger than you think it is my first point. To the third power. My network is the people that believe in me and the people that believe in them and the people that believe in them. I could force you to prove that your number of people that believe in you, people that would reply to a text message from you that sounded like this: hey, Fred, I've got a question. Don't know if you have the answer, but if you don't, I bet you know somebody that does. Got a minute? That's the structure. Don't send that text message. I mean, you can, it'll work. Even if the question is, do you know somebody that'll buy my stuff, right? Even if that's your question, right? But that's your test. Hey, Brad, got a question. Not sure if you know the answer, but if you don't, I bet you know somebody that does. Got a minute? The number of people that you know that would reply to that is a minimum of 250 people. You may think that's a large number. I could force you to prove it in front of me right now. Go to your LinkedIn and just start counting the number of people that you are 99 or 100% certain would reply to that text message. It's more than you think it is. Let's assume it's as small as 250. And they can be from any area of your life. Doesn't matter. Just that would reply to that message. If each of them has a small number, Doug, of 250, and each of them has a small number of 250, that is 15,625,000 people. So the first is, don't care that you're new, Christian. Your business is bigger than you think it is. Those 15 million people, any one of them could be a prospect for the people that are referring business to you, right? Meaning you don't have to go through the act of, okay, Monique gave me a lead once, so every room I'm in, I got to try to find a lead for Monique. Liz gave me a lead once, so every room I'm in, I got to try and find a lead for Liz. Ask them to go through your LinkedIn. Go through your LinkedIn and see who you know that might fit their profile. Do it together during the referral pairing that we talked about. That's one key. Your network is bigger than you think it is. Number two, if you're actively building your network from introductions, your network is getting bigger, right? Liz sends you a lead. Christian, you do business with that person. Well, maybe that referral is now somebody that's good for Monique, right? Every person that you move into your first degree, and now you have 251, right? Their 250 times 250, meaning still third degree from you, is an increase of 62,500 people. So if you're actively pulling people towards you and moving them from second and third degree into your first degree, you are very rapidly building your own network to offer back to other people in support of your key referral partners. Does that make sense?
Perfectly. And if they don't know where to start, I just put yours in there, LinkedIn.
Sure. Yep.
NIA Southeast. I know that you love to keep expanding your
Yep.
network.
Exactly.
And yeah, and I invite them to share theirs. So connect with each other, friends. Okay, expand your network right now.
And in order to effectively have that conversation with you about a network building business plan, I'm going to end up asking you the same questions I would ask in a quick connect. So you're going to have your opportunity to become referable in my mind inside that conversation. Right? So it's a twofer. Right? It's like the first and second meeting combined into one. So that's pretty cool. Right? Okay. So, and here's the other part of that, Christian, just to flesh that a little bit. A willingness to share your network goes a long way. People don't believe in reciprocity. One for me, one for you, one for me, one for you. That pisses people off. But a mutuality is a very generous place to be. Christian, I'm brand new and I'm building my business, right? My target market is your target market. I'm happy to go through my LinkedIn with you currently and see if people I already know that you want to meet or could sell your stuff to. But I just want to assure you that as I continue to build my business, I'll be keeping you in mind. So it may seem at the beginning that you're sending more business my way than I'm sending yours. And if it ever feels uneven, unfair, or that I'm not holding up my end, please let me know. But just understand that as I build my business, I'm absolutely going to do my best to support you. And most people are like, that's cool. I'm not keeping score. The fact that you're willing shows that your heart's in the right place. Most people aren't keeping score. See? Boom. right? Cool. All right. That's the short version. And if you think I was kidding about 250 being on the low side, just ask me to make you prove it to yourself during our network building business plan talk. But I would challenge you in the meantime to literally go to your LinkedIn and just start writing down. You can just keep hash marks, but you might end up finding you need to make use of the relationship. So you might even just start jotting the names down. But I guarantee you'll come up with well over 250, probably 3 or 4, 500. At 300, 300, and 300, that's 27 million people. At 500, 500, 500, that's 125 million people. That's a lot of people.
I would say that's a good starting point, right?
That's a very good starting point.
Great.
Hey,
Great.
Liz is no slacker. Just saw the notification. Liz is scheduled.
There you go. Amazing.
Multiple screens are the key to the winning, right? If you're not using multi-screens on your Zooms, guys, you got it. You got the chat up here. You got the grid down here. You got your active windows over here. Multiple screens is the way to go with LinkedIn.
Amazing. And I love it. Love having you with us today, Daniel. And all of you, you might think that was just some inspiration, some golden nuggets. I tell you, Daniel handed you incredible opportunities to grow your business on a golden plate right now. How do I know? I've experienced it firsthand. He is the guy that really shows you and teaches you, that there is a system. He said he loves the system, and it is an incredible system. He knows how to help you never run out of contacts, and don't run from networking meeting to networking meeting, but rather make meaningful connections that change everything. So, again, I loved having you today. Daniel, do you want to round it off with a final encouraging message?
Yeah, I don't have, much to add to that, except, right, you're absolutely, when I say a system, that doesn't imply transactionalism, right? It's still relational. You're just remembering to apply all the ingredients, right? I don't consider myself a bad husband because I read the 5 love languages, right? I don't consider myself a bad husband because I read the 7 keys to a successful marriage, right? We want to look at the things that make the difference, but it all comes down to mastering 3 simple but complex components, asking the right question from the right person for the right introduction. And I promised you that the sales pitch would be, there's more where that came from. There it was. There's your sales pitch right there.
Love it. So thank you for being on. Thank you for so generously, just putting it out in front of everyone. Okay, I've experienced it. I know it works. It's incredible. And, again, you're just, you're so close when you connect with each other and you start trusting each other, you start building relationships. You learn from the master like Daniel, your business grows for sure. Okay. So love having all of you with us today. So celebrating all of you. A lot of you said at the beginning of the session, you're committed, you want to step up with your speaking, you want to step up growing your business. There you go. Networking is key. Speaking is key. It's just 2 powerful ingredients to bring everything to the next level. Okay. So thank you, Daniel, for being on with us today, for sharing all your golden nuggets. And it wasn't actually golden nuggets. It was actually a runway. It was not just golden nuggets. It was a runway to bring everything to the next level. And you guys will know when you start applying what you heard today, you will say, oh my God, it was one of the most powerful sessions ever. So I love each and every one for being with us today. Christian, Doug, Jerry, Liz, Christian, and everyone. Okay, every single one of you, loved having you. Thank you for taking the time being with us. As you know, and with Heart Powered Business, we bring you in our Heart Powered Speaking community calls amazing guests with amazing concept systems every single month. Keep an eye out. We will share with you tomorrow what's coming up next month. We'll also share with you where you can find a recording so that if you feel that, hey, that was too fast, I really want to dive into it again, we will let you know where and when and how. Also, as I mentioned at the beginning of our session, okay, if you want to meet us live, okay, don't miss the opportunity to really, meet us at our Voice to Millions retreat. Okay, please check it out. Do yourself a favor. If you want to take a shortcut, creating a scalable program that helps you to serve more people, package your knowledge and wisdom into something that you can serve more people, maybe even create a passive income stream and turn that into a speech. It makes all the difference. Check it out. I know Liz also helps us promote it and others, right? We have a couple of people here that are already on with us, so check it out. But in the first place, again, Don't, let go of the old way of networking. Just start playing with what you learned today. It will help you. It will uplift you. And I always say, just go out there, create your magic in your own unique way. So speak up, scale up, and make the biggest impact. And do it with the people you trust in the most powerful way. All the best, my friends. We'll be in touch and have an amazing day, evening, wherever you are around the world. Loved having you on. And if you want to, you can always leave a message in the chat of what was valuable today or some appreciation. I'm sure Daniel will appreciate that. In any case, connect with Daniel, connect with me, connect with each other. And again, learning turned into doing gets you the results. See you all soon, my friends.